Hello everyone, welcome back to the studio where even dreams believe. I hope you are all doing fantastically and we are officially in spring, but today it does not look as if we are in spring. We are back in winter, it seems. Okay, so what we are doing today is we are working on the forest scene, the challenge that I set myself in the last video to see if I can complete someone else's painting that they have started. This painting that I'm talking about was my daughter's painting, and she started it in oils. Oh, it must have been about 10 plus years ago. And I am slowly working through all the old paintings that was left here, never completed. Okay, so today I am going to show you where we are, and I am going to be trying a new experiment. So what I'm going to do is, instead of painting with oils, I am going to be using oil pastels. Let's have a look and see how that is going to work. I've never done it before, so we will test it out and see together here. Let's have a look. Let me share my screen. Okay, so this is where we are at with this painting. The last time I added only a few shadows, and remember I extended the trees so that it go all the way up to the top. I've also added a few little trees here that is starting to grow, and mainly focused on the shadows and also this shadowing on the path here too. And so today I would like to see what I can do in the foliage section. I would love to have big plants and big leaves and typical foresty things here. So I'm going to only use my imagination. I did not get any, sorry, that is the sound of the oil pastels. I'm just moving them. I didn't get any sources that I wanted to use for today. So I am just going to see what I can do with my imagination. Okay, so let's have a look and see. All right. Okay. Now the pastels that I'm using, you can see here, it's just these. I've got two sets. It's the set here. Okay, I think this is the, let me have a look here. The Pentel. Okay, the Pentel 25 colors oil pastels. And then the other one is a local brand in South Africa. It is the Dala oil pastels. And if you look at this one, you can see this is actually, I'm more, how can I say, I like this one. I favor the set. I don't know why I always favor this one, but I prefer this one. Okay, it's as if it is slightly softer. What I also have got, in case I do need, I've got all my oil brushes and everything I have got here with me, and I have got some earbuds if I need to do something with that. And also I have put down some Galkut. So Galkut is a fast drying medium for oils. So I also want to see if it will work with oil pastels. For me it should, because it is oil based, oil pastels. Let's see if it works. Okay, so if I have a look here, let me just angle this camera also so that you can see it from that perspective too. Okay, all right, so what I have envisioned was that over here I would like to have maybe a big leaf plant here And then that would be one of my focal points, and then something that would come over the path, because in a forest a pathway is never as clean cut as this. There's always a little bit of foliage growing across the little pathway. Okay, so now let's see. If I look at my greens that I have here, this is like a grayish green. Let me just see here. If I open it like that, okay, you can see that color there. I have got, let's see what other greens I have. I've got this one here. Okay, and I have the brighter color green. Okay, and in the other set, you can see there's a slight variation between, oops, let me lift it higher. There's a slight variation between these two lime greens from the two different sets, so it's for highlights that would work well. Okay, let me not mix the sets up now. And then we also have got like a khaki-ish gray in the other set. Okay, and then of course the darker greens, like this one here. This is a very dark green. Okay, let's see here quickly. All right, I think I am going to start with this one and see how it is going to draw on the canvas. So here we go. All right. So in my mind's eye, I am seeing this plant with these ginormous leaves. I just want to see what we can do. And the thing is about my experiment, in case it does not work, then I just paint over it. Do something else. That is what makes art fun. You know, if you really hate what you are seeing, then you just redo it. There's no shame in that. And you don't have to toss out the canvas just because you think, ugh, that's not good. Okay, I think over here I also want to have something with a bigger leaf, maybe like a monstera or something. Let's see if I can do that like that. Maybe. Coming across here. So I'm putting this one in here. Okay, so we've got a bigger plant there. We've got one here. Let me just see. Okay, I've now picked up a little bit of Galkid on my, you can see the shine there on the pastel. So let's have a look and see if I can do something with that. Let's see, let's make another leaf here. Yes, I think it's going to help speed up the drying process here on the oil pastels too. Okay, maybe I want to have another plant with bigger foliage over here. Okay, so let's just make one with bigger foliage over here. we've got the 3, and maybe here in the background we can also have one with a slightly larger foliage. Okay, so we'll just put that one there. And in the foreground, I think over, let me see, this side is nicely balanced. Let me put it over here. Okay, let's see if we can also bring it over the pathway. Okay, so we have got more or less the position where I would like to add the bigger foliage. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to just wipe off the galcut there. Okay. Ugh, my nails are going to be very nicely painted too, I see. Okay, let's have a look. What I want to do is I want to use, this is now from the other set, this green. I'm going to see what texture I can put on the foliage here. So I've picked up a bit of galcut here. So let's have a look and see. So basically I am just putting color down. I'm just coloring here to make it a more solid color. So I'm just wondering what you have tried this week that was something that you've never done before. This is certainly something that I have never done before. Oops, I just snapped my, that's okay. My pastel is getting a little bit shorter, but I've got more. So it's dividing itself here to make more. Let's see. Just want to grab some of that galcut over there. I think what I want to try is maybe put down the pastel first and then maybe go over with the galcut with a brush. Okay, maybe that's easier. Let's see here, because I'm struggling a little bit to get the pigment down. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so let's see here. That's definitely easier without galcut on the end. So first lesson learned, try to put the galcut on afterwards. So what the basic thing is, what I'm doing now is, if you look here in the, let's say the undergrowth of the forest, there's lots of yellow and all of that. Now I want to give that plant a solid color so that we do not have the yellows coming through, but that you can really physically see that there is a big plant over there. Okay, so let's see here. I think this is working much better to first put down the color. and then the gel coat afterwards. Okay, so here I can see that I have got a different plant and it's slightly coming to the front. It will really pop off the background once I've put in my shadows and everything underneath it, and the highlights, if there are highlights, I will put them in too. So let's have a look here. Let's leave this one to rest for a little bit, and let's move to the next one. Okay, let me just clean off my oil pastel. Okay, so the one that is behind here, I want to make it the bottom 3 leaves. I want to make them darker, but this leaf that's going up here and maybe a part of this leaf here, I want to have a highlight, because if we're now thinking maybe there's some light source in the back, the far back, and maybe that, because that leaf is standing up, it's not down like that, it might catch a little bit of the highlight over there. So let's have a look what we can do with the highlight. Excuse me, I have got a scratchy throat. Just want to take a sip of water. Okay, so let's start with these over here. Whoops, okay. I very seldom, I don't know why I'm doing it today, work with a long piece of oil pastel. Exactly because it breaks. Some people say you have to keep the paper around it. I don't like that because they go mushy. It's oil, the heat from your hand, it makes a mess. It goes so squishy and squashy. I prefer taking the papers off, and then what I usually do is I would take even half the size and work with it like that. So I don't know why I've changed my method today, but let's have a look here and see. Okay, so I'm going to use the half here. I'm basically just adding the darker colors here to indicate that it's not part of the undergrowth, but it's actually a leaf. And I'm going to leave that piece there for a highlight also. I just want to see if I can mix this one in here. And part of this will also be a highlight. Okay. So in the event that this is not successful, I can also use this as the first layer of my foliage and then later go in with the actual oils. But I've been thinking about using oil pastels on an oil painting instead of oil for a while, and so that is why I'm experimenting with it today. Okay, so what I want to do here, I want to see what color is this. This is also green. Sometimes it's difficult to see if it's green or black. I am looking for a slightly darker. Okay, this is the black. What I want to do, I just want to define that there is a shadow over there. Under. Just bring in a little bit more of a shadow there. Okay. And what I can do is I can use one of my trusty earbuds and I can just blend that shadow in there. can also do it with your finger. I prefer doing it with my finger, but I have got more classes later on today, so I do not want to get myself absolutely messy. Okay, so now let's see here. I'm already doing a great job on my nails. All right, so highlight. What can I use for a highlight? So I'm going to use this here, and I'm going to see if I can add some of that yellow on top of that. So let's see how that will work. So here we have got a highlight. I like that. Okay, and let's see if we can add just a touch of the yellow to see if it is maybe the morning light coming through there or the soft light. Okay, I also like it here. Let's see on this side. And I will bring a little bit over here too, so that you can just see that it is still part of the same plant. Oi, I said I wasn't going to use my finger. I think that looks very nice. Can you see the highlight and the shadows? The shadows we will still emphasize. We will still emphasize the shadows more when we get to that stage. Okay, so let's just come back to this one here. I think I want to do something else with this one too. Before I do that, I see that there's a place over here that can use some of this green. Let's see. Let's add some of that green in too, so that we can see it's from the same plant. So that side here. I would love to know who else experiments with using art materials in a totally different way. I have a student that told me she's not brave enough, but you know what? There's always other paint. You can just paint over it. Everything is fixable. And if you seriously don't like it, then you just whitewash everything again with an extra coat of white or anything that you want to coat it with. But we are not there. We are not even close to getting there. Okay, so let me continue here. I like this. This is like a medium green. I really like this color on here. Let's just give some of that there. And I also want to bring in a little bit of the light on this leaf over here. Maybe over here also just a little bit. Let's see. Okay, cool. Now this one here is directly in the shadow. If you look at the shadow of the trees here, so this one here will have to go to the other scale, which would be darker. Okay, so let's see here. I think I am mixing up my two sets here, but it's okay. I will sort them out later. Okay, so here we will have this darker section where the shadow from the tree is falling, and this leaf here would also have some darks. and maybe underneath here we will have some darks. It's so easy to blend with your fingers because your finger is warm. The heat in your body heat in your finger actually helps to spread the oil very nicely. Otherwise, if you just draw the texture of the canvas, it can leave it grainy. Okay, so let's just do this leaf here. This part here is very dark. Okay, we'll put also a shadow here, shade it a little bit over here. And then this one here too. So part of this leaf is in the shade and the other part will have a little bit more of the light coming through. Okay, so let's see, I have got a different color here that I can maybe work in here too, just to give it some effect, more texture. That looks interesting. It looks as if it is a line. Nice. Let's see if we like it at the end. Okay, so we can bring those lines through like that. Maybe very pale over there. Let's see. I don't know what type of plant this is, but it has got lines. It's my plant. Okay, all right. I'm happy with that so far. And let's have a look. Okay, now the edges on the, let's not take that color. The edges I want to just really make pretty here because it looks a little bit frayed, and that is not what I'm wanting. So I am going to go over with my finger again just to get it smooth finish there. That's much better. Let's have a look here. Let's see over here. Better. Okay, cool. Now the center here of the flower, this big plant, I want to also just put in a little bit of a darker shade in there so that we can just see it actually goes in deep. Okay, so now here, this is in the shade, so I'm going to just continue here lightly, making this a little bit darker. Okay, and I will go over it with my finger now and even here, just so that we can see it's casting its own shadow here, and that's why it's slightly darker. Let's see here too, and that I'm going to leave because it's got the brightness of the glow. Okay, so let me just wipe my fingers before I continue. Okay, so let's see what we can do with this, activating this here. There we go. You can feel when you activate the oil on the canvas, because it just goes in smoothly. You're basically just pushing that into the canvas, the texture of the canvas. Okay, I'm quite happy with that so far. I would love to know what you think. Okay, so now let's have a look. Those two are okay, so let's see what we can do with these two over here. I just want to see if I can move my canvas a little bit to bring it closer. Okay, let me attempt this one over here first. Now this one has going, well, this one has to reflect the glow a little bit more from behind, but I will indicate that it is actually a plant. So let's see, I want to use this one here, and maybe a little of this color that is like a buttercup yellow. I love this color, and I've just taken a piece. Okay, oh, you can't see it, this color here and that color, so I'm going to see if I can do this one over here. I want to see if I can angle it a little bit better so that you can see it. Let me just see. Okay, I will show it to you at the end. I'm sorry my camera is not reaching here, so let's have a look. And this one is behind the tree, so it would be, I'm not going to put the leaf across here. I'm looking for a slightly darker green. Here's my darker green for these ones here. Just like that. Okay. All right, and the buttercup. Going to be blending that with the buttercup yellow. All right. Okay. So now let's see if I can. I just want to clean my fingers. Just important, if you change color, just wipe down your fingers if you are using your fingers to blend. I love this blending technique. I think I will do a blending technique with oil pastels in a different video where I would have the camera closer. This is a fairly large canvas. It's very difficult to angle it to get into my camera. So I will do it on a separate occasion, then you can see exactly how I blend. Okay, so I'm going to leave that one to rest. These can rest also now. I will add the Galkit later. Okay, so now let's have a look at this plant here. It is I'm trying to do a monstera. Let's see. I have got that leaf there, that's prominent, that leaf there. It's going in behind the tree, so we won't see it in front of the tree. It's a little bit further back, it's behind the tree. So let's have a look here. I think I must bring in some shadows. So let's put in some shadows. That's not the color that I want. Where is the other color? What is this color here? Let me see. Okay, this one here. It's a little bit darker. So I want to bring in the shadows underneath the leaf to pop the leaf a little bit. Just to give it a bit of shape. Okay, and then because that side is in the more in the light, I will bring a little bit of a lighter color through there to pop the green. Okay, let's see here. And also because I work in layers, once this layer is nicely dried, and then you can go in with your fine detail brush and put in some more detail. It's not to say that this is where it has to end. We can still continue working with it, because it is an absolute process, and I am absolutely enjoying myself here. I can't really remember what these Monstera leaves looks like. I know that they have got like big holes, but I can add that in later too. I'm just putting the color here so that we have a bit of color. Okay, what I want to do behind it is I want to bring in, let me just clean this one. I want to bring in a little bit of highlights here. So maybe there are some yellowy flowers or something in the forest. I'm taking this bright yellow one too. I just try to always just rub it down a little bit before I work. So this area here, I've got yellowy flowers. Okay, and I'm not going to blend that because I like the granular look, because it then looks as if it could be individual little flowers, a whole area like that. I think actually I'm going to extend that area up all the way so that it looks that that whole section has got that specific flower there. So let me grab a slightly darker orangey color too, to bring in some more interest. And because it's so far in the background, we will not have detail on those. So there I have got that color. Then I have my buttercup yellow that I'm bringing in, taking it across here on the hill. Okay, and then the very light, this is like a lemony yellow. Let's just put that across there. Whoops, I went over my tree. Don't want to go over my tree. And this part here is also part of the tree, so we can maybe just add some more there as a highlight. Okay, so now that looks very strange on the camera. Okay, now you can see that I have got this whole section here covered with a slightly different type of flower. Maybe it can also come out here a little bit, just to make it look as if it is not just chopped off and stopped midway. So we'll bring those little flowers. Let's bring some over here. Okay, so what we see here is our leaf, and then on this side I think let's also just bring in a little bit more of this yellow to pretend that these are flowers there too. Okay, and then they can slowly dwindle away. Okay, that looks better already. I want to pick up my iPad so that I can give you a slightly closer look, so please don't get seasick. Here we go, let's have a look and see. I want to show you over there so you can see where I have brought the flowers behind and I have been putting the shadows under those big leaves. I still have to do that. And then these here, there's a little bit more of a close-up on these two. Okay, so that is where we are at the moment. Good, you have landed again. So let's see. All right. Okay, so now I want to focus on this plant over here. These still need lots of layers, and I just want to place that one. So then I'm going to put the Galcud over it, and then in the next video we will continue, because it is a process of drying everything. Okay, so this one here, let me see if we can angle this a little bit so that you can have a better view of it. Let me lift this up. Hold on 1 second. Let's see, is that better? Okay, I will have to hold it here so that it doesn't fall over, but it's just for you so that you can see when I'm working here. Okay, so what I'm going to do first, the foliage here around it has got a little bit of yellow. I'm going to ignore that for now. I am going to put in some of this mid-green. Okay, I just want to clean that off a little bit. There we go. So I'm going to start here with this one that's going over the pathway. You can see there, I'm just breaking it. There we go. Shorter. Now I've got 2 pieces. Woohoo! Every time it breaks I get more. Okay, so now let's see. There we can see that leaf, and this one here. I'm using the angles where I think in my imagination how the leaf would be curved. So I'm using that to show that curve. Okay, and then let's see here. This leaf is showing more like a flat leaf. This one over here is curving this way. And then that one is more like a flat one going up that way. Okay, so that is the basis here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am just going to put a highlight here. I want to have a highlight here on this side because in my mind's eye it's catching that light that's coming through. Okay, so it's catching that light, and then maybe over here we have a little bit of light falling on it. And which other one would have light? I think maybe this one here at the top, because it is just over there. Okay, so we'll have the light falling there, 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 and I think that's it. Okay, maybe over here also, just on that bend. Let's have a look and see what we can do with this one. I'm looking for the darker green. Where's my darker green? Is this you or is that a black? Yeah, this is it. Okay. Now this one is a little bit dry. This, can you see it? This one. So I'm just holding it a little bit in my hand with my fingers so that it just activates the oil. It just warms it up a bit so that it can work easier. Okay, I'm trying to make sure that it is in focus. So here you can see I've got the highlight. There's a highlight. There's a highlight, and I've put a highlight there. Now I want to bring in some of the shadows there. Let's just see. This is feeling much better. Pardon me. So I'm going to put some darker shadows here. Okay, I don't want to put a shadow here because that is still part of the lighter section. So let me just clean my fingers again. This is just an old, like a dish towel or real toweling, and it's, for me, it's nice to just wipe off the excess with it. It has got enough coarseness just to clean the oil off your fingers. Okay, what I see here now is that there are a lot of small pieces. Let's see, I'm just going to take this brush here and just from that last pastel that I used, made little pieces. Okay, all right. So now let's see, I'm going to blend the lightest one first, but now I have to make sure that my finger is really clean before I start blending the lightest one. There we go. Otherwise it will just pick up the whatever is on my finger. Okay, so now this one here, blend that light section. Okay. I can always go back and put in more highlights if I need to. I'm sorry that the canvas is moving. I'm trying to hold it for you so that you can see it properly. Okay, and then this one here. And you can work the oil pastel in the direction. You can make your fold or the droopiness of the leaf with your finger too. You can just follow that. This is a flat one, this is a flat leaf, so I'm just keeping it flat. I'm not putting any curvature or anything into this one. Okay, so there you can see. Oh, look at my finger. Okay, you can see there the highlights, and you can see the beginnings of the shadows. All right, so now let me just see here. I just want to take the Galcut quickly. Which brush can I use for the Galcut? I'm just going to use this synthetic brush, and I'm just going to add a layer of Galcut over it. Okay, so Galcut is a clear liquid, you can't see it, but I'm going to start over here. This one should be the coldest one now. Okay, so I'm just going to put over here, just put some Galcut over it. I think I'm going to need a little bit more. Okay, you will see that the Galcut is shiny, and it will now seal in the layer below, and it will also help it to set and dry fast. Usually you would mix in your Galcut in with your paint, but as we are not using paint, but we are using oil pastels instead. I'm seeing what it's going to do when I just add it to it here. Okay, I think it's going to work out fantastically. Let's see, let's start with this one here. I love experimenting with things and mixing up different materials as you go along. Okay, then let's have a look at this one here. Basically everywhere where I worked today with the oil pastels, I want to put some Galkut. Okay, and then this one here. This one is still very warm. Let's leave that one for now. Let's see if we go over these little yellow flowers that we've put here. Now I'm saying this one is still warm. It is still warm from my blending, so the oil is, or the oil in the pastels, it's very soft at the moment, so I want to just give it a few minutes and then I will also add Galkut on there. Okay, all right, so I will add the remainder of the Galkut on this one here, and now let's see if we can get a close-up for you. Okay, let's have a look. Please don't get seasick. Okay, so if you look at the, this is a very big canvas. I'm just trying to move it so that you can see. I am really happy with what I'm seeing so far. It has really changed the atmosphere of the forest. It looks more alive and I think it is great. So now let's see if we just go in there. You can see those, and they are not real plants. I've just made shapes indicating what the plants would be like. Okay, let's just see there, that side of the canvas. Okay, all right. So now let me see. Fantastic. Let me stop share here, and then I would like to say thank you so much for being here with me on this journey that we are trying to make something from an old canvas, reworking it. I'm very happy with the process so far, and I hope that you will enjoy watching this video. And then something I would just like to give you as a tip. What I use under my, let me just take this away here so that I can just show you quickly. I use like a rubber mat under my paints or under my easel. This is a tabletop easel that I have here. So I put this under the easel. You put this under a carpet that can, if you want to make it non-slip. These are excellent. You can cut it, you can glue it to the bottom piece or the legs of your, or the feet rather, of your easel if you want to, so that it has got more of a grip. There's nothing worse than painting or doing something and your canvas moves all over the show. Okay, so You buy it in a roll in different sizes, different colors. This is the one that I've got now. I usually have loads of these. So anything that you don't want to slip around while you are working on it, fantastic idea. Okay. Thank you so much for being here with me. We will continue next time. And I think next time I will maybe work with detail on this painting, or maybe we continue. I will still think of it. Okay, I'm going to leave it a few days so that it can dry, and then I will get back to you. So let's have a look here. Let's put it over here and see. What do you think? I think it is shaping nicely. Okay. I'm happy with what we have done today, and I think I will see you soon. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.